Welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of college basketball. Purdue takes their first loss on the season, falling to number 15 Marquette on the road. We all knew the streak wouldn't last forever, but it's still a sad moment. But without further ado, let's run it. This was a tough one, with a final score of Marquette 76, Purdue 58. We knew it was going to be a challenge going in from the highs of beating Alabama at home to the first road test of the season against a veteran-filled Marquette team, but I can't call this anything other than a disappointment. A lot of mistakes, a lot of frustration, but the first loss had to come at some point, so let's talk about it. Purdue struck first with the Fletcher Lawyer jumper to start this one, but it would end up being one of the only times Purdue held the lead. Early on, Marquette moved the ball really well, driving and kicking, using the pick and pop. They got a couple of quick threes off of that. The majority of the first half wasn't pretty, but Purdue was managing to hold off the Marquette crowd and keep them at bay, finding themselves only down three after a Caleb First tip-in with just over 6 minutes to go. But fouls, free throws, and Kam Jones' playmaking set up the Golden Eagles with threes in back-to-back possessions to suddenly jump out to a 10-point lead faster than Purdue could blink, with 4.5 to play in the first half. Whenever Purdue started cutting into a lead, there was a great defensive possession by Marquette to stop Purdue in their tracks or come up with a live ball steal and go sprinting the other way. A Caleb First trip to the line, making one of two, would end the scoring in the first half, leaving Purdue down 35 to 28. And based on watching everything, it felt lucky that the deficit was just 7. Purdue threw the first couple of punches in the second half with a TKR jumper and a tip-in. They cut the lead back to 3 within the first 2 minutes, but it wouldn't last. Marquette found their offense, a mix of slashing for easy layups and more threes assisted by Kam Jones, and by the 14-minute mark, it was back to an 8-point lead for the Golden Eagles. Purdue's offense just looked stale. Even when they were able to get a bucket here and there, it just didn't look comfortable. Purdue still struggles to attack the zone. Even with a more athletic, stretch the floor lineup, they couldn't handle the pressure nor break whatever zone Marquette threw at them, and it just led to turnover after turnover. But even after all the disappointing basketball, somehow it was still just an 8-point game at the under 8 timeout. Plenty of time to fight your way back into it with a couple of stops and scores, but it couldn't have gone more opposite. Foul, two free throws, missed three, layup, steal, even more open layup. 3 minutes later, a deflated and frustrated Purdue team is now down 14. I thought we would at least fight to keep it respectable, but the last couple of minutes were really hard to watch as Purdue gave them some free throws and another open three to bring the lead out to 20 points. The little consolation prize at the end was Fletcher getting one last layup to keep it from being a 20-point loss, but that clearly wasn't much given what we just watched. But heading into the top performers, Trey Kaufman-Renn leads Purdue with 16 points on an efficient 7 of 10, even though they struggled a lot to get him the ball early. Was 2 for 4 from the free throw line with 8 rebounds, 3 assists, but 3 turnovers in his 34 minutes. And behind him is once again Braden Smith. Not as great of an offensive day, still ended up with 11 on 4 of 10 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3, which was very solid. 4 rebounds and 9 assists, but 2 turnovers in his 37 minutes, which 9 assists to 2 turnovers with this kind of defensive pressure, I'll take, even though it still didn't look pretty a lot of the time. And for Marquette, obviously has to be Kam Jones, leading the way with 17 points on 7 of 12 shooting. He was 0 for 3 from 3, but clearly that didn't stop him. 13 rebounds and 10 assists, along with a steal in his 36 minutes. Good for a triple-double, and we will get into that later, talking about Marquette. Next up, we have Stevie Mitchell, who kind of quietly had 21 points and led Marquette in scoring on just 6 of 11 shooting. He was 1 for 1 from 3, but most importantly, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. He had 2 rebounds as well as 4 steals and a block in his 30 minutes. And for the honorable mentions, we still have to bring up Fletcher Lawyer, who pretty consistently got a quiet 13 on 4 of 11 shooting from him, 1 for 3 from 3, which hilariously enough is a quieter game from 3 for him, but he was 4 for 4 from the free throw line with 2 assists and a steal, as well as 3 turnovers in his 34 minutes. And lastly, for Marquette, you have Chase Ross, who had 12 points of his own on 5 of 10 shooting, but he was 2 for 3 from 3, brought in 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, and a block in 37 minutes. So a really valuable do-it-all guy, as well as he still ended up with 12 points. So he contributed a lot in this one. Heading into the key team points for Purdue, it is once again back to handling pressure. New year, same issues. Year in and year out, if there's one surefire way to mess with Purdue, it's get up in their grills and make them sweat. Purdue just cannot handle on ball pressure well, even with a really experienced backcourt of Smith and Lawyer. Braden handled it relatively well, only 2 turnovers with 9 assists, and of course he had the ball for the vast majority of this game when Purdue was on offense, but Lawyer had 3 turnovers himself, so did TKR. Everyone else couldn't complete pick and rolls, couldn't get passes into the post, rip and drive, anything. 15 turnovers on the game for the Boilers, and 11 of those, 11 were steals by Marquette. While Purdue would occasionally force a travel, carry, bad pass out of bounds, all dead ball turnovers, Marquette got live ball turnover after live ball turnover, which ended up with them getting 18 points off turnovers. This is really what won them the game, but obviously there's a lot more to this game than just that. Secondly, and sadly, get Will Berg out. This is a point that I didn't want to make. I've been avoiding making this a key point in any of Purdue's previous games because I like the guy. He seems like a really nice guy, but he's just not fit to be a starting center in the Big Ten. He started this game once again, and in his just 9 minutes throughout the game, he gave me enough to be upset with that I don't think he should see almost any minutes against most teams. My issues with his play. He's slow. He can't guard the pick and roll or the pick and pop well, and Ben Gold made that very clear to start this one with an early three, and Royce Parham got him with another one as soon as he came back in later in the half. He was a complete non-factor on offense, and he objectively made our offense worse when he was out there. He couldn't catch a great pass that Braden rifled to him through multiple defenders. He can't out-rebound much of anyone without fouling. And of course, there's the fouling. He managed to not foul anyone in these 9 minutes, but that was just because he got blown by trying to defend his man on the outside. And in other games, he's been a foul machine. I'm going to stop there, but I just want Purdue to realize for once this year, they are not better playing a 7-footer. And thirdly, it's attacking the zone. Another previous issue that I thought we had fixed that we definitely haven't, or maybe we were just spooked. Either way, we still struggled to attack the zone that Marquette threw at us today, and they put a unique twist that we really couldn't find a way around. When the Golden Eagles weren't pressuring in tight man-to-man, they got into a matchup zone where Purdue would break their three-quarter court press and then try to set up in a zone offensive set just for Marquette to run them around for a couple more seconds and instantly attach them to a man again, rendering Purdue's set useless and leaving Braden to run another pick and roll into some sort of pull-up jumper, a desperation pass, or another turnover. If the Boilers didn't scout them well enough, that's a different issue, but they certainly didn't seem to know enough to beat it while it was happening. And over to Marquette, starting off, it's just defense. Plain and simple, one of the biggest differences between Marquette's great team last year and their showings thus far this year is that they're incredible defense. They had their way with Purdue, turning them over 15 times, keeping them under 60 points, and making them every basket uncomfortable, even if they were able to score. With a top 10 defense in the country, according to Ken Pom, if this offense can knock down just a couple more threes, they're going to be seriously dangerous for every opponent they face, home or away. Secondly, it's Kam Jones. Kam Jones is a bad man. He's been a key part of these last couple of elite Marquette teams, but after biding his time and continuing to get better and better each year behind Tyler Kolek when he was leading these Marquette teams, he's become a force for these Golden Eagles, notching Marquette's first triple-double since Dwayne Wade in 2003. Talk about putting yourself up there with Golden Eagle legends. Jones has forced his way into the National Player of the Year conversation after this performance, averaging 20.5 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, 6.2 assists per game, just under 2 steals per game on just under 64% shooting and 44% from three. He's become a menace with the offense running through him, and I don't see him slowing down. And lastly is free throws. They may not have gotten to the line quite as much as Purdue did, only 3 shots less, but they also managed to make 2 more than the Boilers. They shot 14 for 15, good for 93%, while Purdue went 12 for 18, only 67%. During the close points of this game, a couple free throws for Purdue and a couple missed for Marquette could have significantly changed the momentum. But they did what they needed to do and knock down their free throws, and that's what winning teams do. They shoot 78% from the line as a team, and that's going to be a key difference maker in close games throughout the season and the NCAA tournament because you know this team is going to make some noise there too. Since this game, both of their next matchups have been played, and I'll have the recap for Purdue against Marshall out soon, so you'll have to forgive me and wait a little bit longer to hear all about that game that took place this past Saturday. But that's all I've got for today. Purdue is going to get back on track and keep the ball rolling heading into their holiday tournament coming up soon. Stay tuned for more recaps and the return of Boombuster Believable in this new season. Let us know what you want to see more of. We always love your feedback. But if you want more from us, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm out.